So what we see here is actually next gen, and this is more breaking news than showing iFix 2026. And the question is, what is it? Well, it's web-based. So for the technician guys, it's web-based. And it's not a SCADA, it's built on top of SCADA and adds some value to your data. It can be built on top of SCADA or any other data source. So when you come in here, you go to the dashboard. That's a landing page where you have a quick summary of what you can see here. And for you, it's probably don't make any sense yet because you don't know what we see here. So I will start from the button up. You can connect to any data source, MQTT or OPC or a data source. That for you guys would probably be iFix you could connect to, or it could be a KEP server or any other stuff that you use. You can see I've added an iFix here, and that iFix is not working, but that I don't care about that because I have other data sources. But what you do is add a data source, add an endpoint, handle the security, whatever you want, test the connection, and then you can begin to browse the data source. This data source has been browsed, so it doesn't give the same feeling, but you can browse all the tags in the data source. I'll do it. I get the same result as now. And the good part here is I can build a hierarchy. So if I use a flat iFix database and I'm using the tag syntax that I'm pretty sure Casper has made, that is good and structured, right?
Yes.
I can use that tag naming and AI to build a hierarchy of my fixed database, so it will be a class-based database instead of the flat database, and that is pretty cool, and it's easy. And when I say easy, I mean it's easy. Well, now it's quite easy because it's already been built, but otherwise it will run for a few moments and then come with a suggestion on how this class-based database should look like. You can see it here, and when done, you can actually also change it if you want the structure to be a bit different. When you're done and finished and safe, you have this data source as part of your equipment. Here's the equipment. I can look at plant A or solar fab 1, and I can see the structure of this data store I'm looking at. So already there, I think we have some benefit from the flat database to a structured database. The database we are looking at here is not the iFix database. It's a local copy of the database that is transparent to the iFix database. So when we come to alarms, stuff like that, when we acknowledge an alarm here, that will go down to the data source like iFix, and if you get an alarm, it will come up here. But it's still a local database. Just to add a bit of a wow effect, I can see here in my equipment, I have something called line 1. I have some small buttons here, and one of the buttons is generate screen with AI. So I have a lot of data here. I'm asking this product to generate an HMI screen for me. And it will identify all the data points we have in this part of the database and do its best to do what can we call it, a dashboard HMI for this part of the equipment I've chosen here. And it's done now, and until now it doesn't really look like a HMI, but this is the kind of definition of HMI. I can choose to some other widgets to show or delete some of the data I don't want in the screen, whatever, or I can just preview it and see, well, what will this look like? And this is the generated HMI for this part of my database. Well, it was quite a lot of data, but it's working, and I can say done, and now it's visible in my HMI part. somewhere in here. I can't. Well, I probably forgot to say save, but whatever. I have made some displays now, and you can actually see the displays. So I find that pretty cool. But not to take all the fun out of it, this is not what we get in the first release. Isn't that correct, Steve? That will not include the HMI, or maybe, who knows?
Okay.
Hard to say. But what I know is it will include alarms. We have a alarm management system in this product, an ISA 18.2 standard alarm system, where you can see all the active alarms like this one. You can see the details for the alarm. You can comment on the alarm. As you can see, there's a lot of comment here. And you can actually also, well, of course, acknowledge the alarm. We'll try to acknowledge, well, try to hit the right spot here. Acknowledge. Oh, it was right. And as you can see here, we can add a solution. What was the solution for this alarm to solve the problem this alarm represented? And that will come up next time the alarm is coming. We can see what was the solution for this alarm the last time, and we can try that again. Well, for now I will just leave it as it is. It's also possible to shelve the alarm. I want to shelve this alarm in for the next hour, then it will not appear in my alarm screen anymore. I'm sure you know the concept of shelving, right? Yeah, Fix can do that as well, by the way, if you don't know that. But the cool thing here, I think, is the trend. You can click on the trend and actually see a trend of the alarm. That's taken from not Historian, but its own Historian server, right, Steve? As I understand it, for now, you don't know that. I do. I'm technician. It get the data basically from Historian, but what you see here is some cached version of it. That was the geeky part. And if I look a bit longer back, I can also see some lines here that's showing when this alarm went into alarm, out of alarm, when it was acknowledged, and so forth. And by the way, you're more than welcome to ask me a question if you want to. It's a bit lonely up here.
On those trends, can you add other data?
Yeah, that's right. That was a good question. Thank you. Yeah.
Okay, we are just a small plant,
Yeah.
one single plant, and we have a lot of alarms on parameters that we don't have in Historian.
Yeah.
Will they also come up here as historical trends?
I tend to say no, but that's not as simple as that, because you can use any data source for this, Kipware, whatever, any third-party OPC UA server. So I'm pretty sure you have some. This is not even a product yet, so it's a bit hard to say how it will end. But there will be some data collection in the product itself, as I understood it when I got the presentation. So somehow, yes, you will still have some trend capabilities, even though we don't have Historian. That was a really long yes.
Very limited time window.
Yeah.
Because when you clicked on 7 days, you could see it saying, I'm retrieving the data from Historian.
Yeah.
Right? But time window without Historian would be
Yeah.
short.
So that was a really long yes. Yeah. But here you can see the the alarm, but maybe you want to compare it with some other tag to see, could it be maybe you want to see the fill factor as well, and then this tag will come into the trend as well, and suddenly is just a nice trending tool also. Yep. Um, this is the active alarms. We also have shelter alarms. There's not a lot of shelter alarms yet. You can configure alarms if you want to. Define this data point have these alarm limits and will go into alarm when, yeah, you know, like define alarms. We can look into alarm history, so look back in time. Yeah, one more question.
The microphone.
Oh, yeah,
I can speak loudly.
yeah, but it's recorded, so
Okay,
it would be nice, yeah.
Yeah, because we have the alarms in the iFix.
Yeah.
And we set the alarm limits in the iFix. Will that then overwrite the alarm limits?
Yeah,
Which
yeah.
alarm limits will?
Yeah, we have this transparency from iFix up, so it will pull it up. But you could have a data source without any alarming in it. So there you can create your own alarms. Yeah. So yes, again. Yeah. We have alarm history where we look back in time and look in historical alarms, and yeah, nothing much to say about that. I missed one thing here. You can see all these small figures here, and that indicate the priority of the alarm. Yeah. Beside that, you can kind of search in your equipment model and say, well, I want to see some alarms from solar fab line 1 only. Then I will only see alarms from that part of my equipment, or you can dig even further down and say, I want to see the diffusion or something else. You can also say, well, I'm only interested in the critical alarms here. I should probably. So you have a lot of filter possibilities in this one. Yep. Can we get a mic?
Yes. Is it possible on the trend to see when you have a temperature to see where it's a high and a low alarm on the trend? So it's actually good, and then it's going high, and maybe it's red or yellow.
Yeah. Well, yep. Yeah, the short answer is yes.
Okay.
But to be honest, this demo alpha system, I haven't seen it. I have seen it on some PowerPoint. You can see the alarm limits, and you can see you have this cross saying, well, the alarm limits is here, and here the it was crossed.
Is it getting the data from the iFix database, high or low limits in, or how?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it's you. I hope you saw the safe harbor statement. As this is not a product yet, things
The
can
future.
change. Yeah, the future is yes, you can do that, and that's kind of the idea. And also see when was the line crossed and stuff like that. When was it acknowledged? You can see that in the trend instead of looking at a trend and then a table with the event history.
Okay.
It's now we look at the trend. It is also possible to choose another trend type if you want to. Step doesn't really look good. Area, nice. Yeah.
So that's if you have multiple variables.
Yeah, then you show if you want it in one trend or many trends and stuff like that. You also have alarm analysis, where you can see the number of alarms and alarm statistics on single alarm, and you can go from years to months to days to minutes to see, well, what kind of alarm did I have the last hour? And then you get the statistics down here. And the last point here is alarm correlation. And that was, Steve talked a bit about it. Alarm patterns this year. And we can run an analysis. I will run it for the entire equipment because it's not that big. And then I get alarm correlations to see what alarm caused what alarm. It maybe look a bit chunky, what can you say? But we can zoom in and zoom out and choose an alarm and see what actually caused this alarm. What is the main cause and what does this alarm cause? So it's a, well, we'll not call it simple, but at least powerful. Yeah, question?
So this is just showing the time difference between the different alarms, or how is it relating the alarms to each other?
It's relating to say, well, when we get this alarm, it's usually we had this alarm before, and
Right.
and after we are getting either this alarm or this alarm. Yeah. Yeah. One more question.
Will it be possible to export that to like another like a PDF, or do you just take a screen dump or something?
I'm not really sure, to be honest. It would be pretty cool if you could just export it as a PDF or a JPEG
like
or
for
something like
compliance and
Yeah.
Sure.
It will probably come because it technically would be quite easy to do. Yeah. Yeah, you can take your own mic. Yeah.
So as a product leader, these questions are exciting to me, right? Because you're engaged and you're like, what if? So whether you catch me at the break or whether you feed questions back to Rasmussen over time, like that, help us understand, right? We have some really good subject matter experts, and we've been doing this a long time, but your use cases are valuable, and what's valuable to you is valuable to us as we're early in this stage of building product. So if most of our sort of web-based stuff, we have exports, but typically it's like tables and we're exporting to Excel or whatever. If you say, hey, I really need export to PDF of this because I'm going to put it into some other process document, like those things are awesome. So make sure we're getting them to us.
Keep them coming.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's all for alarms now.
Just one last question.
Yeah.
Yes, one actually problem that I often see at our heating plant is that the alarm limits, they are some kind of off limit because that some operator or some electrician, they just thought that this alarm is not so nice to get, so he changed the limits. Will there be any form of AI or something else to establish what would be a fair limit?
Well,
Likely, right? So as we start to look at maybe you just have a whole network of MQTT-based sensors coming up into a broker, and you're not running those through a PLC, but you need an alarming engine, right? You know, I would say it makes sense for us to start over time. You got to collect data over time, right? You can't just discern first time it sees that tag, what's the likely alarm limits for it, but it makes sense for us to recommend alarm limits after there's been, after there's some history.
I think we have 20 years of history.
Okay, well then that should be easier.
Yeah. One more question.
So also this is the next question in that line of questions is alarm limits sometimes also contextualized, so maybe based on rainfall and when you have a water sewage plant, for example, or the lead up to the sewage plant where they have all this. So the alarm limits needs to, for example, change depending on the weather situation or before, if you have the forecast, I have to need to change so all the wells doesn't give alarms when you have a heavy rainfall, because you're actually storing the water in the wells before it runs into the plant when you have a heavy rainfall. And so you need to be able to contextualize your alarms before you actually give them. So
Yeah.
Do you understand the model or the calculation? Like, could you write that set of complex rules down.
Yeah, because you are actually doing it in the controller. You're saying that, okay, now we have a heavy rainfall, so you'll be able to send out a message to the controller that now you need to store water in the well instead of pumping it to the plant because we can't process all the water.
So you know when you have a heavy rain.
You said that now we're getting a lot of flow into the sewage plant, so we need to stop the water being pumped in, store the water, and then pump in when the wells are full. But maybe you can predict it on the alarm management plan.
Pretty sure it's not like that now.
No.
No, it's not like that now.
But
They're
we have
typically
AI, so
fixed. But I think the notion of model or calculation-based limits is super interesting, right? Because that's really what you're talking about. You've got some sort of Python algorithm, or you've got some sort of code, right, that is changing what those alarm definitions are. I think that's super interesting.
It is, and
Yeah.
it would be possible. I guess we have AI and stuff here.
Well, so that's the interesting thing, right? So we talked about AI into the products.
Yeah.
I will say part of becoming Velotic is access to all kinds of new software development tools that we did not have under a relatively conservative parent that produces gas turbines, right? And so those kinds of things become super interesting because they can be done actually relatively easily. Yeah, I think that's awesome. Very interesting idea. I don't know how many use cases, like would it be normally used, or is it an edge case? But even so, I think it's a powerful.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Well, Steve have talked about what Velo, the assistant, AI assistant. It's also here, the MCP. So we can chat with our process. So I can say, show me active alarms. Well, I could just have looked at the alarm screen, but that wouldn't be as fun. So it's kind of showing me the alarms and also come with a summary. And I haven't got a clue what these alarms are, so do any alarms need attention? Yeah, so the 3 alarms need attention. Well, I'm still not really sure what these alarms are, but but I can use it to get some attention, and if I'm not wrong, I can also ask it to make a dashboard if I want to, or make a trend. I haven't tried that yet, but that would also be possible, or ask some more in-depth question about the process and the alarms if I want to.
Can you do it in different language?
I haven't tried it in Danish. I could try it, but in general, it would be possible. Like Copilot or ChatGPT do it quite well. So this product is using an AI, external AI. So that would probably know how to speak Danish, or Swedish, or maybe not Finnish. I'm not sure about that. And to the kind of one question. Yeah.
I don't remember if you touched on this in the presentation, but what's the data security on this AI model? Like, if we have production critical data, would that be shared? You said it was an external AI, so how is that data treated?
That depends on the AI you're using. You can buy some AIs that is your own data using, or you can have your own.
That's right.
AI.
You can have us. We will have a number of models in terms of leveraging AI infrastructure that we have, or leveraging AI infrastructure that you have.
but can we go down to like limit the AI to specific server in a specific geographical location, or is it a web-based AI model that's hosted on a number of servers around the world?
In this demo environment, it's in our Bedrock account because we're not exposing anything that we're doing outside of our own company, right? He's running on a private server. In terms of, I think it's a good question. Typically, when we do SaaS deployments of like our MES, you know, we have customers in Europe, and we agree that no, we're gonna put it on the Frankfurt POP, right, and keep the data within the EU. So we're sensitive to that piece. If there's something more than that we have to be thoughtful of, it'd be interesting to learn more.
Okay, cool.
And how is the backwards compatibility? Say you launch this on a pre-existing system. Would you be able to go back in time, or do you just start from the time of installation? Or,
that kind of depends what the underlying system is. If it's iFix, yeah, you have the historian data you can use for it. But if it's just a kept server with no history data, that we'll start from now.
Yep. Start storing your data.
Yeah. Now we have a good license model, Ultimate, so no problem. There's no excuse. Well, the last thing I want to show is the kind of geeky part, the settings. And well, in general, settings is not that interesting. But you saw that it was generating a HMI, and the definition of how to generate an HMI is actually clear text. You're explaining the AI how you want the HMI to look. That's pretty cool.
It's cool, but what makes it more cool is you might have a standard. Yep. You might want color schemes. And you can define them.
Yep.
Right.
And the AI will read and understand this and create it based on that.
Right. I mean, it's a prompt.
Yeah.
Right. It becomes it becomes the header to the prompt that when you ask for build me a screen.
Yeah. And the absolutely last thing, we talked about Linux and container stuff, and this is a containerized product, so you can get a health of all your containers you're having here. I don't have anything more, but I'm open for question now.